Meta and Facebook ads have changed a lot over the last year. There's now plenty of new features that help businesses create profitable ads, including new inbuilt AI tools. But one thing has remained the same. Facebook and Instagram is still the best social media platforms to advertise on, and if your business does not use Meta ads correctly, then the reality is you're missing out on a lot of growth and sales. So if we take a look here at the key statistics, Facebook and Instagram ads still has the best ROI or return on investment for businesses. It's still the most used social media platform worldwide with 3 billion monthly active users, and it's used by 67% of marketers. And although creating winning ads has become more and more challenging, we're still spending hundreds of thousands on Meta ads that we run and for our clients here. So it's absolutely still possible to create profitable ads that run automatically to help bring in more sales, leads, and bookings. So in this full video tutorial, I'll guide you through the best way as a beginner to run an optimized Facebook ad and Instagram ad this year by taking advantage of all the newly released features. If this sounds good to you, drop a like and subscribe. It's always appreciated, and let's get right into creating effective ads together. So the very first step is to create an account and make sure we correctly set up Meta ads. I mentioned that there's quite a few new tools and changes to the system, so it's more important than ever that we correctly set this all up. If you already have an ads account set up, feel free to skip to the next chapter in the play bar down below. Otherwise, let's start here at business.facebook.com. So from here, you'll want access to both the Meta Business Suite and also the Business Manager. So what you want to do then is actually use your Facebook account to log in and create an account, not just an Instagram account. Then what you're going to do is click login. And then I've reached the Meta Business Suite, but what you're going to do if you're creating a brand new account is just simply follow the few steps and then you'll get your account up and running. So I'll be using a dummy account here. And as an example, we'll be selling a pet hair roller so I can guide you guys through this tutorial. For those of you looking to use Meta ads for lead generation and getting more clients, for example, don't worry, this tutorial also works for you too with some tweaks. Now, the very next thing to do is to create a Meta pixel and generate a new data set. So to do this, click the hamburger icon right here, click all tools, and then scroll all the way down into Events Manager. Once you're in Events Manager, this is where we're going to create a Meta pixel. And a Meta pixel, for those of you who are wondering what it is, it's basically a data collecting tool that sits on your website to help optimize our ads. It's a really important tool to have to be able to build profitable ads. I'll show you how this pixel actually works later in this tutorial, but the first thing we need to do is to actually create a pixel, which is thankfully really easy to do. So you can do this by simply going into Events Manager as we are on here, and then clicking this big green plus icon, connect data sources, click that, and then choose web, and then click connect. If you have any other places you want to track, like an app or even messaging, click those and then click connect. So from here, we're then going to create a new data set. So just recently, Meta introduced these data sets as the new way to create, track, and manage events from your ads. So without getting too technical, basically the new dataset feature helps reduce the need to build and maintain multiple API integrations. So instead you have everything in one place. So go ahead and name this dataset. So I'll just add test dataset. And then click create. Then go ahead and enter the website that you want connected to this data set. In this case, I will just add in my own website and then click check. And then click next. From here, make sure you click Metapixel and Conversions API. You'll want both and then click next. And then depending on what website you're using or what platform you're using, like Shopify or WordPress, go ahead and click set up with partner integration or set it up manually. In this case, let's check what partner integrations that they use. So if you use any of these platforms right here, basically you're just going to go ahead and click that platform and then follow the simple steps to get it all set up and click see instructions. So once you have it all set up, this page here is where you're essentially going to see all your integrations, all your events in this single spot, which is going to be important when we're creating new ads and optimizing those new ads. So moving on now, let's use the new useful meta tools that will help us set up successful meta ads. So a very common question I got in previous annual tutorials is, how much money should I spend on ads and what sort of campaigns should I set up? Well, there are two tools that will help answer this question. First, let's use this Facebook ad cost calculator here. It's completely free to use and I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. So from here, what you're going to do is just input your monthly revenue goal. Let's say it's $5,000 a month. And then your average product price, let's say it's $60. And then your average cost per 1,000 impressions, or basically how much you're willing to pay for 1,000 people to look at your ad. Let's just say, it's $10. And then your click-through rate. So basically this is on average 3 to 4%. So I would just simply plug in 4% to keep it simple. And then your cost per click is 25 cents. And your cost per acquisition will be $13. So in this case, you have a conversion rate of 1.92%. If this is too much to understand at the moment, that's totally okay. You can just guesstimate and then plug these numbers in, because what it's going to do is it's going to give you a rough idea of how many sales you're going to get, how many clicks you'll need to gain those sales, and then what sort of total budget you'll need to work with. So in this case, what I've come up with is roughly $1,000. So let's just stick with that number right now. This is going to change a lot for different people depending on the business that you run, but let's stick with $1,000 in this case. My recommendation with budget is to just use a small test budget to see if your ad or offer is resonating with your audience. And if it is, then we can scale up the budget, and I'll show you how to do this next. The other great tool to help you get started with is Meta Campaign Planner. So this updated tool, as you can see here, helps you predict ad results, create and compare different ads, and even provides AI suggestions. So to use Campaign Planner, just head to Ads Manager and then go back down and then click Campaign Planner in the list here. And then all you need to do is, if you don't have a page connected to your new Ads Manager, you can see here that you can just simply go to Business Manager and then connect up your page with your Business Manager. And then once you're able to do that, you can then click Create Plan, and then it will guide you through a plan and essentially give you a guide as to what sort of campaigns you need to set up. This is just a great beginner's tool to get you started and is a great foundation to start with. Next, let's get an idea of what goes into a good ad. And the simplest way to do this is by taking a look at your competitors and their ads. So Meta's updated ad library report page is an amazing tool for this purpose. So head over to facebook.com/ads/library/report. I'll also leave a link down below for convenience. And here you'll get insight to all sorts of information like the total number of ads in a region, total amount of spend, the top searches, and even a spend tracker, as you can see here. So what you're going to do is just play around. You can take a look at the top searches from last week or the past week, and you can see how much advertisers have essentially spent. It's quite an interesting page to use. So what I would do if I were you is I would run a simple keyword search and get an idea of competitors in your space. So let's say, for example, you're a real estate agent or business. Then what I'd do is come into the search bar and type in real estate, and then literally change this to all ads in the United States, and then click search. And here you'll get a complete list of current ads running with the keywords real estate. And you can see a lot of different ads all over the place. And this is just a great place to benchmark and see what ads are working in this space. Typically, the older the ad, then obviously it's probably working for that business or that individual because they've been running that ad for a significant amount of time. So what I would do is filter and go by the date. and just look at older ads and see what's working for them. But yeah, reverse engineer the conversion path. And what I mean by that is going into the ad, clicking the website and seeing what they're advertising and what sort of like the workflow is like. But you don't need to reinvent the wheel. At the same time, don't copy the ad because that's obviously plagiarism. Now let's move on to my favorite part of the process, creating the ad creative itself. So an ad creative could be an image, a video, an animation, for example, but it's going to represent your ad. And it's most likely what your viewers will see first when they stumble upon your ad. So it's the most important part of an ad by far, particularly if you're running Instagram ads. So a great creative will be the difference between an ad that does nothing but burn your money or an ad that takes your business to the next level. So you could create any sort of ad creatives you'd like, but my personal recommendation as part of this tutorial is to create a short form video. So video is still king, and recent studies found on Sprout Social say that viewers find short form content more than 2.5 times more engaging. But what's happened in 2024 and beyond is people are getting bored with ads, and ad fatigue is setting in. It's actually quite challenging to create fresh ads that work at scale. So one of the easiest ways to still create effective ad videos as a beginner is by using a tool called InVideo, and they're kindly sponsoring this segment of today's video. InVideo is a web-based video editor with a really intuitive interface and ready-made video ad templates so we can create effective Facebook and Instagram video ads within minutes. It's a platform I've used for years now, so let's jump in and create an ad together. So what we'll do is we'll start in the templates library here. There is over 6,000 customizable templates to choose from. And the great thing about it is they're all based on recent trends and follows social media guidelines to achieve that high conversion rate, which is what we want. It's just a great way to set up ads and get them up and running really quickly as a beginner. So let's edit a video together. And for this example, let's say we run that pet e-commerce store selling a pet hair roller. And I've actually seen these go completely viral on social. I'll show you in a second. So what I'll do is basically stick with the portrait landscape and then click ads and then click e-commerce because that is the niche that we're in. And then from here, you can look at specific templates, search for them. If there's Black Friday templates, Christmas templates, but I'll type in pets here. So you can already see there's quite a number of pet templates here that can work really quite well with what I am thinking. But in my case, I want to go make it completely customized. So I'm going to exit out of these templates actually. So after taking a look, I'm going to settle on this template here. It's really simple, but I think it's going to work well with the content that I have. So I'm going to click use template. So this is the convenient online editor that we're going to use. And what you'll do is if you have any content that you've already got of the product that you want to sell, that's perfect. Let's drag and drop that in. So I've got these two here and I'm going to drag it in, let it upload. And then this is where things are going to get really fun and interesting. So for those of you who don't have a lot of video content or don't even have content yet at all, there's also a convenient stock video library footage with 8 million assets from premium sources like Shutterstock and iStock. So you don't actually need to spend lots of time and money filming every single piece of content as a beginner. I do recommend using UGC2, which means user generated content, or just filming your own content of your product for a more effective ad and then uploading it into InVideo. So what we're going to do is start pulling in these videos, and then we're going to select the part of the video that we want to use. So as you can see here, this is a really inconvenient way of cleaning pet hair, and we're going to show that up front first. So to speed things up and save you some time, basically I use the InVideo editor tools here to add and change text, add stock footage to support the original videos I've uploaded. I've included a logo with a call to action and then automated the voiceover narration, which is actually relatively simple to do in a few clicks. Here is what I've created over the past 10 minutes. Just to show you real quick, I'd probably change the music, but as you can see, I've added user-generated content in here and some quick captions to show the benefits and usage of this tool in a real quick sort of 15-second clip. And you can even go in and click voiceover here, and you can turn the text to speech automatically with all sorts of voices. So let's generate a voiceover. And that way, people also get a voiceover generated on top of the captions, which is really useful again for ads. And this is all done automatically, which is great. So I also want to quickly show you how we can use stock footage. So in this video clip, you can see that there isn't a dog in sight. So what we could do is go in here and type in, let's say, golden retriever. And let's see what sort of stock footage they have here of a golden retriever. So you can see there's plenty of golden retriever footage here. So let's go ahead and select this one and drag it in. And then what we're going to do is just slim it down a little bit right there and click add. And then from here, we're going to, as you can quickly see, just enlarge the video clip so it fits the aspect ratio. And that way we can quickly use stock footage to add to our ad. So as you can see here, tired of cleaning fur, here's an easy way to clean with a fur roller. And it's as simple as that, really. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this video so far. So we're gonna go ahead and export the video. So click export in the top right-hand corner and ensure that video quality is at 1080p, then click export. So it's going to export rather quickly, and then you're going to go ahead and download that video. InVideo is actually extending a full 25% off all the paid plans through the link in the description box below. So be sure to sign up through that link to take advantage of the discount and gain access to the full quality exports. Now that you've created your first ad, if you have some spare time, what I'd actually recommend is creating a few more video ads for your product or service you want to promote. And this way we can test different ad variations and find the best winning ad much faster. Okay, so we're almost there. Let's finally set this all up on the platform and tweak the right settings so your ad has the best chance of success. So to start setting up the ad with the creative that we just created, go back into Ads Manager and then under Campaigns, click the big Create button here. Leave the buying type to auction, and under Campaign Objective, click Sales in my case, or if you're hoping for leads, then click leads. Then let's make sure that we also name our campaign with a nice naming convention. This way we can go back and find our campaigns really easily, particularly if you end up having like hundreds of campaigns. Naming conventions are really important. So you can stick to any naming convention that you'd like, but a really simple way of a naming convention for campaign is just having, the product name, and then the goal of the campaign. And then typically I'll like having the date as well. This is just a quick example for you, but you can go with whatever naming convention you want. Often mine changes quite a lot. And then ad set and ad, we can leave that for now, then click continue. So the next step, you'll see a new feature here, which is the Advantage Plus Shopping campaign. And this is essentially Meta's way to automate your entire campaign. This could be a good option for total beginners, but because you're watching this tutorial, we'll want full control to provide better and greater success. So we're going to go ahead and click Manual Sales Campaign so we can tweak and manage all the settings ourselves. So click Continue. Then from here, we're at the campaign level. Let's go through the options here. So special ad categories, there is no special ad categories unless you're in one of these buckets like credit, employment, housing, or social issues, etc. Make sure that you click these if you're actually going to be talking about one of these topics. It's a surefire way to run into issues if you don't actually click one of these special ad categories. But for everyone else, we can continue with no category. And then moving down here, A/B split test. We'll talk about this in a moment under optimization, but leave this off for now. And then Advantage campaign budget. So This is a new option, and basically for the OGs out there, this was CBO, so campaign budget optimization. What it does is it automatically manages your campaign budget across ad sets to try and get you the overall best results. It's the way to go for beginners, so I would actually switch this on. And then with the campaign budget, typically, I like to have a lifetime budget if we're just testing this new product or this new ad. So let's go with lifetime budget. And then I will set in, let's just say $200. But let's refer back to the calculator that I recommended, because I know a lot of people are going to be asking what sort of budget should I set up. So go back to that calculator that we're talking about here and just use that as a rough guide. And then from here, budget scheduling, this is up to you. If you're running a lifetime budget, you can't actually use the scheduling feature. But if you are running a daily budget and it's an ongoing ad, then you can actually schedule your ad to appear at certain time periods. But that's more an advanced feature only for those who might have already figured out when is the best time for that ad to run. But if we're testing, I recommend going with lifetime budget and don't bother with scheduling your ad and have it run the entire time basically. So then finally click next. So now we're in the ad set area, and this is also a very important area, so be sure to follow on carefully. The first thing we're going to do is name the ad set. So there is a new feature here where you can create template, and this is just a really easy way to automatically name your ad sets without thinking about that naming convention all the time. So what you're going to do is just click add component in the campaign fields and go with objective, and then after that, click the field separator. I just like having the dash here. And the item separator, it's totally up to you. So click plus again, and then choose the ad set fields that you want in the title of the ad set. I typically recommend having interest in there, and then also going back into ad set field and again, going with any saved audience or the ad set ID. Then moving down, this is where we're actually going to use the power of the pixel that you've set up. Under performance goal, you can see here that there is a number of goals that you can click and select. So this really does depend on what type of business that you run, but for the most part, you're probably wanting to stick with the maximum number of conversions, and then later on, probably maximizing the value of your conversions. If you run a lead business, for example, you want more clients, well then maximizing the number of landing page views to your landing page or your website is probably the way to go. So this is really dependent on the type of business that you run, but take a look through these and then select the one that's appropriate to you. And then make sure that you've selected the new pixel that you've created. And the conversion event in this case would be add to carts. So basically the plan here with the conversion event is you want as many conversion events in the first 7 days as possible. So the chances of having a sale is probably lower than having an add to cart. So in this case, I'm going to have add to cart to the conversion event. Again, if you run a different type of business and it's just to book a call, then you probably want just landing page views as a starting point. And then later on, you can change that conversion event as part of the optimization, which I'll talk about later in this tutorial. Then scrolling down, attribution. I usually don't mess with this if this is just a test campaign, and particularly if you're a beginner, just leave it as is. Scrolling down now, we have a feature called Dynamic Creative, and this is where Meta starts to leverage AI to help you create automatic text and potentially sometimes videos and multimedia to help you add out with different variations. So again, if you're a beginner, I would typically just leave this off. But if you're testing new ad sets, new ads that are already working for you, this is a worthwhile feature to turn on and see how it performs for you as a beginner. So in this case, I'll just leave it on. And then under budget scheduling and ad set spending limits, this won't matter, particularly if you're running a lifetime budget campaign, which we're doing in this case. And then under audience controls, this is where you're going to set the country or countries to target and serve your ad to. So let's go ahead and change that. Let's just say I am selling to the United States. And by the way, you can go very specific here. You can literally type in the state within a country. You can even go into a city and be that specific. You can also add exclusions. And let's say I don't want to, advertise to Germany for whatever reason. I can also add that in and exclude Germany. And then clicking show more options here just to show you every single tool and option that is at your disposal. You can set a minimum age, and then you can also exclude custom audiences. Custom audiences being audiences that you've created yourself through that pixel. Let's say you've got an email list and you want to add that in as a custom audience and say, look, I don't want to advertise to that audience because let's say they've already bought something from your business. You can add it in here. And then down here, advantage plus audience. Let's go ahead and click audience suggestion. And then what we're going to do is go and change this. So make sure that you set the age bracket, the gender, totally up to you, and then the detailed targeting. So this is the beauty of the power of Facebook and Instagram. So you can set the exact targeting details that you want. And then my suggestion, particularly if you're just starting out, is to niche down, but also keep it broad at the same time. So the easiest way to do this is just use the browse feature, click browse, and then under here, you can look at demographics, you can take a look at interests, and you can even take a look at behaviors and take a look at what you think would resonate with your business that you're running or the product that you're trying to sell. So in this case, if we take a look under interests, well then likely under hobbies and pets, this is what we're wanting to go for. So since we're selling a fur remover, we'll probably want to target cats, dogs, and that's probably about it. I mean, we can target other animals, but as a general test, that's already a huge audience group. As you can see under audience definition, that is already an audience group of about 100 million people. So that's already huge enough, but this is a bit too big. So what you can do is click define further, and then under cats and dogs, we can also match other behaviors. So let's say click browse again and click behaviors down here. And let's just take a look at, what they've been doing recently. So we could target people that are interested in cats and dogs, but they might also be using their mobile devices only, for example, or they're an Instagram business profile admin, or you can go down into their purchase behavior and that they're engaged shoppers. So I typically actually like having engaged shoppers set as an option. This is based on their behavior online. If they've bought something from a store within the past week, they will be billed as an engaged shopper. And you can see that this has already brought down the estimated audience size to about half. So for testing, I like having that on in general. So that's a great purchase behavior to have on. But the goal here is to have it broad, but at the same time, niche it down a little bit more. So that way there's higher chance of them converting and actually purchasing your product, at least in the get-go in the beginning. Then under placements, advantage plus placements is basically automatic placements. You're giving control over to Meta. I recommend actually having manual placements, because there's a lot of placements that I just don't want my ads to be showing. We want complete control over this. So I would remove personally audience network and have it on Facebook and Instagram only. And then from here, we can take a look. If you see the drop down, there is a lot of areas where you can place your ads or you don't want to place your ads. So if you're running an organic looking ad where it's just a video clip, it looks like user generated content, you want to place that on purely Instagram and Facebook feeds. So, when you're scrolling, it looks organic as possible. Sometimes you can also get away with Instagram stories, Facebook stories as an ad. That works pretty well too from what I've seen. So I would go through the feeds placement and just tick essentially Instagram feed, Facebook feed, and tick things that aren't relevant to that. So video feeds, Facebook Marketplace, let's remove that. Instagram Explore typically works well from what I've seen as well. Facebook right column, I'll tick that off. Stories and Reels, we'll leave that on. Making sure though that you have video placements that work specifically for stories and reels, because you know that format is different, obviously. And then in-stream ads for videos and reels, I will remove that, and search results, I will also remove that. So you can get really advanced here and create specific ads for specific placements. That gets a little bit more complicated. It's what you should be aiming for later down the track, but if you're a beginner, these are great placements to start off with anyway. Okay, now we're finally on the final page, which is the ad page. This is where we're going to create the ad itself. So the first thing you're going to do is, again, just ad name. So just create an ad name here and use the template function again and add those components that you think is going to be relevant for you. So in this case, let's go with, again, the ad set name, and then use the separators and just have the ad field itself, and let's just go with the headline, for example, and let's just click save. So that's just a quick example for you. And then scrolling down here, make sure that your Facebook page and your Instagram account are connected, particularly if you're running on both Facebook and Instagram. Under ad setup, let's keep it simple, stick with manual upload, format, stick with single image or video. And then under here, multi-advertiser ads. If you're starting out, this is actually a pretty decent option to have on. Basically, this means that your ad will run alongside next to other ads. It's completely fine. It seems to work fine in terms of cost and also results and conversions. So let's leave that on. And here is the ad creative. Now, select that video that we just created in video. And so I'm going to upload that right now. So once your creative and video is uploaded, you can see here, optimize creative for each person. I highly recommend turning this new feature on. And what this does is it leverages machine learning and AI to create different variations of your ad to speak specifically to an audience. Now, we had to do this manually in the past, but now it is semi-automated. You can see the potential list of automations right here. So some of the things it will automatically do for you is apply some minor image enhancements. It will also even add related emojis to your text if it finds that it's suitable, and it will help you add. It's pretty amazing what it can do, but basically it's there to try and help and improve your ad automatically, because at the end of the day, Facebook and Meta want you to create successful ads, so that way you continue spending on their platform. Moving down now, we have the primary text, the headline, and the description. These are extremely important as well. So in order of how important they are, the primary text is the blurb that is in the main box. The headline is the headliner text you'll see underneath the creative. And then the link or the display link is what you see right here underneath the creative. So what I would do is start with the primary text because that's the most important. And just to keep it simple, the first sentence is always the most important. So this is what we call the hook line. You want something to capture the attention of people when they read the first line of the primary text. And then you can have the benefits as the second line, and finally the offer as the last line. So this is extremely important because, as you can see underneath benefits already after the second line break, you'll see a see more button. So people won't actually see that until they click see more. So the hook line is by far the most important. When it comes to the headline, I'd suggest either calling out the offer that you have or the benefit of the service or tool that you're selling. So let's just say 10% off so-and-so pet roller. And then you have the description underneath that. You can just elaborate on the headline from that. And then your website URL, so make sure that you've included that in. And when it comes to the website, please ensure that your website is, number one, built up to scratch, and number two, is optimized for speed, and you've checked out the actual flow of your website. So that way you don't have any issues when you're funneling so many people over to your website. So you do want to make sure that your website is optimized first before you start running ads. That is an extremely important point. So moving on, you can click here and preview your ad itself. So I'll click play here. And you can see this is a Facebook feed example, but if you're to click Instagram feed here, you can see that immediately there is no display link, there is no description or headline. It is simply just the primary text. And that's how it works on Instagram. You just have the caption. So you got to make sure that the caption or the primary text for Instagram is really hard hitting and powerful, because that's all they'll see outside of the creative. But yeah, at the end of the day, the creative, the video itself, is by far the most important, as you can see here. Just make sure you check all the other placements and that they look right to you before you move on. Then moving down, you have the display link. That's if you want the link to display slightly differently from the actual URL, just for aesthetic purposes. And then you've got browser add-ons. This is great for those of you who want to generate more leads, more calls, more bookings. These are options for you. And then of course you finally have the call to action. Simply just select one that is appropriate to your goal. And in this case, it would be shop now. So click shop now. And then scrolling down, you finally have tracking. Just make sure that the meta pixel is active and working. As you can see here, this one's obviously not working because this is a dummy account. But once that's all done, click hit publish. So now we're finally live with your first ad from this tutorial. You want to now keep an eye on it and optimize the ad during the ad testing phase. Now, this is a whole other video in itself, but what I'll do is I'll share 3 important techniques to get you started so you can optimize your ad correctly. So the first thing is split testing. Split testing, also known as A/B testing, is an optimization strategy that involves testing 2 elements of an ad against each other to basically determine which one delivers the best results. You've probably heard of A/B split testing. I've mentioned it a lot in previous Facebook ad tutorials. It is very popular for a reason. Split testing is super important in identifying the most effective part of the ad, from the creative to the audience segments to the title or even the offer. So make sure you are setting up multiple ads and split testing different elements of the ad so you know what is working and what isn't. Meta ads is often a science, not an art. So the more you test and optimize, the better. The second tip is to utilize audience matching for each ad. Now, audience matching is basically making sure the ad is tailor-made for the audience that you are targeting. So a simple example is if I duplicate an ad and now I'm targeting, let's say, France instead of the US, that ad now needs to speak to the new French demographic. It should be relevant and relatable to the French. And I don't mean just changing the language, I mean speaking culturally to that audience, because that way it speaks directly to them and draws their attention. Often most people get lazy and just duplicate the ad to new audiences without making any sort of changes or optimization, which could result in a total waste of money. The third tip that many people make mistakes with is the learning phase of an ad. The meta learning phase is the starting period when the platform collects data to understand how to best deliver your ads to the audience that you've chose to target. So during this phase, the learning phase, Meta shows your ads to a small number of people and then tracks their responses. So this learning phase can last from a few hours to a few weeks, depending on a lot of factors, but the best result is to exit the learning phase as soon as possible. To do this, my recommendation is to allocate the budget to generate 50 result actions within the first week of the campaign, and make sure you do not change the campaign settings like targeting or placements during this period, and make sure that it has the time to exit the learning phase as smoothly as possible. So if you're interested in going from beginner to advanced with meta ads, I'll drop a link to another mini course down below where you'll learn advanced optimization techniques to supercharge your ad. And if you found today's video tutorial useful and you made it all the way to the end, drop a like and comment the code word marketing, and I'll give it a like for making it to the end. I hope you're able to take your business to the next level by using meta ads and following on this tutorial this year. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.